Welcome to My Decadent Life. Today we are doing a full face of Pacifica Beauty. I have foundation and concealers, I have eyeshadow, I have cheek palettes and some highlight situations, lipstick, and mascara. So if you're interested in any of these products, stay tuned, we're gonna get into it. Kicking off this look with the Pacifica Crystal Primer Powered Up Illuminating and Perfecting Primer. This is formulated without parabens, silicone, phthalates, and propylene glycol. I do like this primer. It doesn't give you the same kind of slip that a typical silicone primer does, but it does give your face a nice smooth base, and foundation seems to glide over it well. Prepping my eyelids with the eye primer from Alima Pure. I've been using this for I think about 6 months and it seems to be doing the trick and I like it just fine. Now to even out the tone on our eyelids, we are using the Pacifica Liquid Cover Concealer in the color 18WL and then blending it out with my beauty sponge from Thrive Cosmetics. So now we are on to eyeshadow. I threw away the original package, so I do not have any shade names. I apologize. I'm going to use my Wayne Goss brush in the number, let me find it, 18, to use that kind of light pink shade to prep my brow bone. And then the color right on top of that is this really pretty sort of terracotta tone to define my crease. And then I am using the Wayne Goss number 16 for that. I like a really blown out crease. With my hooded eyes, it seems to work well. Taking the color to the right of that, it is a really kind of pretty warm, like a copper tone, and I'm using my finger to apply it. I do find that it doesn't apply great with a brush. I'm going in with the crease brush again, just to sort of blend through any lines I created. So now I'm going to use my Wayne Goss number 19 brush and this bronze color in the lower left hand side of the palette just to deepen up the outer crease. I don't love the black in this palette for this purpose, so this seems to work okay. This is the Beauty Counter shadow brush and the Crystal Dew makeup setting spray. I'm going to use that just to get a little bit of extra pigmentation out of this green color, applying that to the inner half of my eyelid area. This green isn't phenomenal. I find it hard to build up. And on your finger, it does, grab a good amount of product, but it is a little bit more matte and it is a little patchy. So then I'm going into that bronze color from the top right corner of the palette and just sort of trying to blend that transition away. This wasn't impossible, but it wasn't, it wasn't anything amazing to say like, oh gosh, if you want this palette for this green color, absolutely get it. If that is what is catching your eye, and that is what was catching my eye, I wouldn't buy this palette for that green. So now we're just going to buff away any harsh edges and we will be on to foundation. So we are using the Alight Clean Foundation from Pacifica. This is oil-free, anti-shine, and has a satin finish. I am using about a pump. I am distributing it over my face. And then I'll be going in with my Bare Minerals Activated Charcoal Buffing Brush, just to sort of blend it all over my face. I'm kind of doing a brush and sponge combo. I find that I can move it around easier with the brush, and then I sort of go in and just press it in with my EcoTools sponge after I have it applied. Now this is in the color 26 Neutral Medium, and this is formulated without silicone, formaldehyde, phthalates, mineral oil, parabens, or petroleum. And Pacifica is made in the USA and it is cruelty-free and vegan. A lot of people watching this may already know that, but for those of you who do not, Pacifica has an awesome appeal due to that. I really have lost a lot of hair from my postpartum hair loss, so that is why I like to sort of take it up into my part line. And here's where I'm showing you that I'm just going to sort of use my sponge to press it in, and I am using the Pacifica Pineapple Flower Oil-Free Matte Mist to do this. I have found that this foundation can get a little bit oily on me throughout the day, and this seems to be a really good way to sort of set the foundation on my face without having to, blot throughout the day. So I did see that the oil-free matte mist was on clearance at Target yesterday. I do not know if that means it's going to be discontinued or if Target just needed to move a little bit of product through. Okay, so we are going to move on to the under eye. I'm actually going to mix the liquid cover full coverage lasting concealer and the illuminating under eye brightening concealer on my skin before I even really blend them together. So here I have concealed, and now I'm going in with the illuminating concealer. When I tried to layer this over the top of the concealer, I found it hard to work with. So I'm just going to apply this to my Thrive Cosmetics sponge and use that to blend in the actual concealer that has the coverage to it. And this I find has been working pretty well for me. So my favorite brush to set my under eye area is the Wayne Goss number 10, and I'm using I believe it was called Cherry Matte Mineral Neutralizing Mattifier in the shade 1. This looks like it has a little bit of a taupe kind of tone to it, even though it is translucent. I have found that it can give my skin a little bit of an ashy cast, so keep that in mind. If it does do the trick, but I don't know that I absolutely need it in my life. And then I'm going to use the Crystal Rays Luminous Translucent Setting Powder and my big fluffy Eco Tools powder brush to set the rest of my face. This is luminous, and in the container you can see that it has a shimmer to it, but on the skin you don't really see that. I do find that it gives a really nice kind of, glowy look, but you are still mattified. This powder is talc free. I believe the main ingredient in it is mica. So now that my under eye is done, I'm going to go back into that terracotta color and my smaller Wayne Goss brush. I believe that is the number 20, and I'm going to smoke out my under eye and just connect that to my outer corner. So then I grabbed my Beauty Counter crease brush, and I'm using that just to sort of smooth the edges, and then I'm going to go into that coppery color, that lighter kind of brighter coppery color, and use that to sort of illuminate the inner corner of my eye. But I do remember thinking that it didn't do much for brightening, so I do find another color later in one of the face palettes to add a little bit more of an inner eye corner highlight. So now we are on to the Alighten Radiance Powders palette. I am really liking this. I don't know that the color scheme will work for everybody. I actually think that if you were fairer than me, you may really like this. The bottom color, Sunset Matte, is truly the only blush color in the palette, and it's fairly light. However, I do like what it looks like on my skin. I'm liking kind of a lighter blush this summer. But if you were any darker, you may struggle to get use out of this palette, besides probably the top color Rose Gold Shimmer. And maybe even the Glimmer Shimmer would work as well, but I don't think that the Desert Matte Contour Color would work for anybody really much darker than me. I wish that they had this in 2 or 3 levels. I think that that's the best way to do a palette like this, is to have a fair, medium, and a dark version. However, I do think that this could work, on different skin tones, just depending on how you used it, and I really do like it on the eyes as well. Now we're on to the Cherry Cheek powders. This is a little strange to me. It has like two matte kind of blush and or maybe even bronzer type colors in it, and then it has two that are a little shimmery, more of a highlight color. So I am using Queen of Noise, the bottom color, as a highlight, and I do really like it. I don't know that you need this palette and the Alighten palette. However, I find that I'm using, you know, a couple from each more than some of the other ones. So it would probably work well if I were to deep pot it and sort of create like my own sort of like eyeshadow face palette out of this. I don't mind going back and forth between the two colors. So here you can see me using that Sunset Matte on my cheeks, and even though it is a pretty light color, how well it does show up. I apologize if that seemed very rambly. I am fully aware that what color works on my skin tone has nothing to do with how it will work on another skin tone. And I often find, you know, that a bronzer for me may end up being a beautiful highlight on somebody else. So I really want to speak more for, you know, how the product applies and different ways that you can use it, as opposed to when you traditionally look at a color and you think like, well, that won't work for me as a highlight. You know, with like the rose gold shimmer, for instance, it would definitely create a dark cast if I were to put that on my cheekbone. However, it's beautiful as, you know, a bronzer for me. I'm just doing my eyebrows with a little bit of my e.l.f. eyebrow pencil. I have about 4 or 5 of these in my life. I kind of keep them everywhere. I don't know how clean ingredient they are, but they are very affordable and they just really do the trick. So I'm going to be topping that pencil with the Beauty Counter Brilliant Eye Gel in the color Dark. I actually like to work this into my eyebrows backwards first and then comb them into place. The color Dark is a little bit dark for me. I prefer medium. However, my medium has run out. It did last me since, I want to say, February or March. So it was about 3 or 4 months of really good use. This is the Thrive Cosmetics black eyeliner. I really like this. It glides on really well. So now I'm going back into that cheek palette and I'm using the Queen of Noise to give my inner eyes a little bit more of an illuminated effect. Okay, so now we're going back into that green color because I feel like it just disappeared on my eyelids as I sat here. I found that it did hold up pretty good after one more coat, but I think that that's just a little too fussy of a product for me to truly recommend. So this is the 7-in-1 mascara, the Wand Adjust, so you can do more lengthening and more volumizing. I'm curling my lashes with the Thrive Cosmetics Lash Curler. I do really like this lash curler. However, when I first got it, it felt funny in my hand, but I have gotten used to it. So this part with the mascara, I did speed up, but I left it all in. I didn't cut it out because I really wanted to show you how much I had to apply to build it up. Now, I am a little extra with my lashes anyway. I do use Babe Lash. I do not have naturally long lashes. However, using Babe Lash really does help them to grow. I did do a ton of coats. I started with the wand, spread all the way out, and then I scrunched it up like this to give it more volume. I do like this mascara. If you are looking for a clean ingredient mascara, give this a try. However, it wasn't, you know, anything that was like out of control phenomenal, but I have not found a really clean ingredient mascara besides my Thrive Cosmetics mascara that has really impressed me as much as this one. So I don't know that I would say that I would, you know, choose this over my Thrive, but if you do not like the Thrive formula, give this one a try. I do think it worked really well, even though you probably will have to do mini coats like I am doing here. So this is my NYX pencil. This is one of the slide-on glide-ons. I think that this is in the color Intimidate, but I do find I need to use a liner when I'm using their liquid lipsticks. I need a base for that formula to stick to. Otherwise, it just slides all around and wears off really quickly. And this is the liquid lipstick in the color Aura. So I'm just going to finish this with the Pineapple Matte Mist, the one I was talking about earlier. I think that this works great as a setting spray. I do have the Crystal Dew makeup setting spray from Pacifica, but I think that I need more of a mattifying setting spray with this foundation. So here is my finished look. I appreciate you taking your time to be with me today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So a few final thoughts. I've been wearing this foundation for a few days. I am still toying with it. I've tried it with primer, without primer, and I have tried it with this setting spray and this kind of, not technically makeup setting spray, but it is an oil-free matte mist. I do find that it's not as long wearing as I would like it to be, but I think it looks really pretty on the skin. So every skin type is so different. Not every foundation will work for everybody. I'm thinking that this would be the perfect foundation for me in the winter, but we just started summer. But sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right combinations to use with it and the right setting powders as well. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate having you here, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye.